What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Shadow Files podcast. I am going to start off a topic. I know we hit one, or actually, we it hasn't hit aired yet, right? No,
No, not
uh,
yet.
but we are actually gonna hit since we are very well known for conspiracy theories. The top 10 craziest conspiracy theories
Top
out there.
30.
Top 30. Sorry. But we're going to do but we're going to do 10 of them today,
Yes.
and we are going to have some fun with it.
Well, I
have
reckon tonight we will start, because we've got a top 30, I think tonight we will start at 30 and go down to 21. And then over the next 2 weeks, we will continue all the way down to the number one conspiracy theory.
and so far I've just had a little glimpse of what we're going to be talking about, and it's actually things that I've heard about, and it does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So these conspiracy theories are going to be quite interesting. For example, we're going to start off with number 30. Internet routers can lead to harmful 5G radiation.
That's interesting because that's been going around for quite a while. And my new meter that I was testing it all out, I was testing it out at work the other day because the guys at work are really super into ghost hunting and stuff like that. They've never done it and they're scared crapless of it, but they wanted to see it all. And one of the things we did test was the IT room, and not barely a spark out of it. I don't know about 5G stuff, but all the other things that we've been told, all the EM stuff, we've been told is bad, but 5G.
I mean, when we upgraded, cell phone services, when cell phone used to be 4G,
Mm-hmm.
remember back in the days?
Mm-hmm.
And then when 5G came out, apparently these radio towers, the closer you were, the more exposed you was to radiation. So, you know, uh, I just didn't realize that routers now can give this kind of harmful radiation.
But can they? That's the whole point. It's a conspiracy.
It is. It is. So 5G truthers circulated news that Faraday cages around internet routers help prevent radiation from 5G. So it's a little bit somewhat tedious if you think about it. You go to your local internet provider, and then you want to get yourself a router just to spread the love of the internet all around, and then you're gonna have to get a bunch of other.
Uh-oh. We have lost Fernando. We'll have to wait for him to come back. He should be back in just a moment, hopefully. Speaking about the conspiracies of 5G routers and everything, it appears Fernando has just been
maybe
hit.
we should hold on one second. Oh,
It's all right. I took that when you went freezy. It's just funny that you were talking about 5G routers and then you froze.
yeah. It seems like Scientology didn't like that one at all.
Mm.
But yeah, so internet routers can lead to 5G radiation.
There you
Let's
go.
go on to number 29. The abominable. It's one of those words. It's one of those words.
The
Which was
abominable.
it that you had issues? Syllable. It's the
I don't know, but you sound like you're freezing up about something. The abominable snowman.
abominable snowman lives in Asia.
Yes.
So, we did have a special guest here, the specialist of Yowies, and he
Ray
did talk
Doherty. Yep.
about,
He talked about the different
yeah,
types.
he did talk about how Yowies is yeah, a certain like in Australia. Then we have Bigfoots here in America. Then
Yeah, if you go up through
different
China,
species.
if you go up through China and stuff, you have the Yeren. And then by the time you get to the Himalayas and that kind of area, you've got the Yeti, which is most synonymous with the name Abominable Snowman. Now, when everybody thinks about the Abominable Snowman, there's also a cartoon. Everybody thinks of it as a white-haired Bigfoot, basically, but actual found evidence and sightings still state it the same as every other one. It's like a brown color, or it's a black. I mean, there's always the possibility of an albino gene in any species, but yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. So much like Bigfoot, the abominable snowman has long been a mythological creature that the public has tried to find for thousands of years. It just brings me back to that interview we had with Ray Doherty. So if you guys missed it, make sure you catch it. It's a couple of episodes behind. It was very, very interesting to say the least.
Yes, it was.
Let's go to number 28.
28. We're not doing too bad, eh? We've got through a couple of them. We're only 7 minutes in. So we're on track to get our first 10 out in our half hour. Like, if we have to go over a little bit, we go over a little bit to get the first 10. Anyway, yes, 28.
This one doesn't seem like a conspiracy theory at all, but let's go with it.
It is.
Airplane exhaust trails are filled with chemicals.
Yes, it's the whole chemtrail versus contrail thing. People see what they say. Obviously, everybody knows that the plane puts out exhaust fumes which are warm. Now, when it goes up into the high atmosphere, especially high altitude planes, as it comes out and it hits the cold air, you get a condensation trail, which are the big white lines, and that's standard. But usually a condensation trail or a contrail will sort of spread out, and then it'll disperse within minutes, and that's why you can see it's pretty sharp at the end where the plane is, and by the time you look back here, it's just a big wispy cloud. But what they say is contrails. I reckon there's a lot of planes putting out, not contrails, chemtrails, putting out chemicals to seed clouds, weather controlling, and controlling what's going down on the ground, even to the point where they could be doing experiments to make people infertile or whatever. That's where the conspiracy comes in, more with the chemtrails rather than the contrails.
Yeah, I mean, because there's been a lot of talks about that we have a overpopulation, scenario going on. But then, I believe it was Elon Musk who said that we are actually underpopulated.
We are not underpopulated.
Yeah. We've heard a lot of different theories on how, the government is trying to control population.
Yeah.
And people who would see, a certain trail being left behind, because, we see, planes, taking care of their crops, and they're dropping certain stuff. And it's, it's a little bit similar to the picture that I'm seeing right here. So who knows, again, there's nothing like a government poison conspiracy. This is actually what's on this. So yes, let's move on. Oh, what? Oh, check this out.
Number 27.
The COVID-19 vaccine has a 5G chip inside of it.
We're going back to 5G again. This is actually two conspiracies in one, because it ties back to the old router and 5G signal, but COVID is an entire conspiracy theory all on its own. And,
oh my God. Do you remember all the craziness that happened when, COVID came out, and then, when the vaccine, and then people were like literally on TikTok. I saw a couple of videos of people, I don't know, with a magnet and putting it on their arm.
Desensitizing themselves. Seriously.
Oh my God.
The other week we talked about Polybius, the game, and how mind control happens. If you're talking about 5G chips and stuff like that, is that part of it because chips were in the games? You know what I mean? And making people do some really stupid stuff. It's
Hey, you know
interesting.
what?
It's interesting, but I don't think everybody's 5G enabled now.
I mean, I did come across you know what? I would love to actually hit that topic also, hopefully one of these days. One of our recordings. Uh, Top 10 ways that the human civilization will cease to exist.
Stupidity be right at number one.
Yeah. Actually, on that list, there was something on the lines of, obviously you have the most famous
You
one,
can't go. You
zombies.
can't go too far into that. That's a whole different list. We're on this list at the moment.
Okay.
We'll
You're
say
right.
we'll
You're
say,
right.
we'll save
But we
that.
are known to true to
Well, we'll
head
save
off
that list for
trail
later. Yeah.
sometimes. Oh my god, I don't even want to say this one. I don't even want to say this one. Number 26.
I have never heard this one. I have not heard this one before.
Number 26. Queen Elizabeth. I was a man.
No. Queen Elizabeth I was a man, not I.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you talking about the course? He's frozen. See what happens when you talk bad about the Queen? He's frozen with this silly look on his face. Or just wait until he sees this playback. This is going to be absolutely sensational. Come on, you can come back now, mate.
Chasts throughout her reign.
You do realise you froze then, and you had the absolutely best look on your face.
No way.
Yeah, and I talked all the way through it, so you're going to have to wait and see when this thing comes out exactly why you're sort of more like, you're like this.
Oh my god. No. Damn it.
But yes,
All
Queen
right.
Elizabeth I was a man.
You know, she has some distinguishable facial features. Oh man.
I'll look at that and I'm just thinking Blackadder. So, and if you don't get Blackadder in America, you need to look up Blackadder. It's a Rowan Atkinson comedy show.
Ah.
So,
Well, here is one. Number 25. Planet X is home to a world called Nibiru.
that is
Have you heard of this one?
technically not correct. Planet X is also known as Nibiru. That's the name of supposedly the name of the planet. Now, if everybody this goes into the Nephilim, it goes into the Anunnaki, it goes into another planet in our solar system, which is on a 3,600 year elliptical orbit. And reports say NASA, which that's a whole conspiracy theory all in itself, NASA, say that the way the planets react and the different orbits of the sun point to the fact that there is actually another planet in our solar system, which is probably on the far side of where we are. Now, what it's far side of the sun from where we are. Now, the story is that every 3,600 years it comes in close proximity to Earth, and that's when the Nephilim, the Anunnaki, the giants, the fallen, all these different things come to be, and these are the ones that come to Earth, and the fallen angels and stuff. So I don't know if Nibiru is another word for like heaven, because that's where these angel type Anunnaki come from. But that's what Nibiru is all about.
I just want to point out that if you guys didn't realize, but Gary has knowledge on pretty much everything.
Nah.
So, you know what? This episode should be called Let's See If Gary Knows It. Let's see if Gary knows this. All right, you know what? Let's see if Gary knows this. Number 24. Sirens were responsible for shipwrecks. So sirens are, another, word for, Ariel, the Little Mermaid.
Yes, that kind of thing. I don't know if the story is that they're responsible for shipwrecks, but they are responsible for luring sailors to their deaths. Now, the rumor about them is, or the word about them is, you get those really still nights when you're on a ship. I mean, I've been fishing at night, but the water is dead flat and sound really does travel. And you hear what they call the siren song. It's supposed to be so enticing that it makes the sailors look over the edge, and that's when they lure them into the water, and then they just keep dragging them down until they drown. And that's
Wow, wow.
it's a pretty dark version of a mermaid. I mean, in all honesty, if you look back at mermaid lore, mermaids aren't the cute little mermaids swimming around with little fish and little conch shell bras and wishing they could have legs and things like that. They were pretty dark and actually quite nasty creatures.
Well,
And
you have basically, you know, just described this whole little article on the sirens. So, Gary knows about sirens.
and they're not very much
But
fun when they pull up behind you and they put their sirens on and the
oh,
flashing
oh,
lights.
yeah,
That's not very
yeah.
good.
Sure. But also, this kind of, I came across a video, and it showed a person on the ship. It was nighttime. He started recording because he was hearing sounds, and I'm not sure if you've seen this, but it sounded like there was someone calling out to him from out in the abyss. Because if you're in the middle of the ocean in the nighttime, you basically could see as far as the light of the ship is
Yeah,
showing.
and the sound really travels, especially when you got rough water. It's a bit like having curtains and things like that. It diffuses the sound, but when you've got a flat surface, that sound bounces and bounces for a long, long way. So you could be hearing things that are miles away, and it sounds like it's just
Wow.
around, just in front of you there. So and
Yeah,
that and
yeah.
that's where the siren song comes from. It's one of those old seafarers' tales, and they actually go right back to like Greek mythology and even beyond that. So they're
Yeah.
not nothing
Wow.
new. They're an old thing.
I mean, the video was pretty creepy to listen to because it sounded like it was like right next to the phone,
Hmm.
actually. So, but yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
let's continue on. Let's see if Gary knows this. Number 23. The Black Knight satellite is an alien spacecraft.
Yep. There are reported photos of the Black Knight satellite from the International Space Station, but NASA just turns around and says it's just a little bit of space junk and things like that. But it, I don't know that much about. I have heard about it, and I do know that they reckon that it ties into signals coming from outer space, and it's almost like they're routed through this thing as if it's there for a purpose, but nobody can pinpoint where it is. It's supposed to have really good stealth technology and things like that. And you think about a lot of different alien films, and what's that one? Battleship. Battleship is a good one because what they do is they land basically over Hawaii, and they use one of our satellites to project their signal back to the home planet, basically giving them the go signal to come here. They reckon that this Black Knight satellite has been, some say, for up to 13,000 years orbiting Earth, just gathering information and sending it back to wherever it came from.
Mm.
But nobody can definitively say whereabouts it is.
But here's the crazy thing that I'm gonna tell you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read a line from the article.
Yeah.
While experts at NASA insist it's just space junk. Now, it wasn't those. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, the word for word. I'm sorry, that is this is basically like the third topic, and we're only on spot 23, and you are literally saying you. God bless your mind, Gary, because
Oh,
you have information in your head.
I've got a lot of useless junk in my head, is what I've got. Just waiting for somebody who gets bamboozled by it like you to make it sound half reasonable.
Hey, no, that all of this stuff, I've been doing the paranormal for well over 20 years, and I do hear conspiracy theories. They're very entertaining. They are very, curious, but I never really got into it. So a lot of the stuff that I am knowing now is brand new.
In all
Like
honesty, look,
half of this
you
stuff.
you talk about these conspiracy theories and things like that, and you'll be surprised how many things that you are into actually at some point do tie into a lot of these conspiracy theories, whether directly or indirectly. There's so many connections. It's that whole 6 point of separation thing. It's just there's always, by the time you've gone back so far, there's always a connection somewhere.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All of this stuff is super interesting to say the least. But yeah, yeah. Number 22,
Mm-hmm.
a solar flare caused the Titanic to sink.
All right, I didn't expect that one.
Because we all know it was an iceberg.
I was going to say there was an ice.
But
There
I
was an
mean,
iceberg
if
involved.
I mean, one could argue that if this is a conspiracy theory, maybe a solar flare chipped off the iceberg from some place and it's what caused it, or are they trying to say that a solar flare came down and just took down the Titanic?
Look, in all honesty, I don't know about this one because you've got to remember you're going back to, was it 1912? I think when I think it was 1912 when the Titanic sank, and they didn't have the technology that we had now. It was transistors, it was mechanical, it was like diesel or coal fire engines and things like that. Solar flares affect electronics. There was, other than some very rudimentary telecommunications on there was no electronics. I don't know how a solar flare can affect a shipwreck back then, other than, like you said, if a solar flare hit that hard that it was able to, I don't know, break off some ice or something. But solar flares don't usually work like that because they get caught up by the magnetic barrier up in the the Earth's magnetic field, and that's what's our shield against electromagnetic energy from the sun. So might be affecting my mouth at the moment, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard that one before, and I honestly don't think much about that one.
Well, a study recently discovered that the northern hemisphere was experiencing a moderate to severe magnetic storm on the night of the ship's collision. Similar solar flares are known to cause power outages on Earth and could have affected the ship's radar and radio rescue signals.
Again,
So,
I don't think so. Only because they're not electronic. They were analog systems, and of all of the reports of the survivors of the Titanic, and I think it was the Carpathia that came to rescue them, I haven't heard a single one talk about auroras in the sky above where the ship went down in the Atlantic. Now, if there was that much electromagnetic, solar flare activity, there would have been auroras. You would have seen northern lights, lights in the sky and stuff like that. And there's no reports that I know of. So again, I discount that one. That's just me.
yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not that old. I know I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Well, that's actually the first time I heard of this theory.
Hmm.
Pertaining to the Titanic. It's there was a lot of theories on that. Apparently, even even a theory out there that's very popular that the Titanic never sank. It was another ship
I have
that
heard that
actually
one.
sank.
The sister ship,
Yeah,
is it the White Star or one of the? Yes, I have heard that one.
yeah. So, but yes. So for our last and final conspiracy theory, we are
Tonight,
going to hit the same topic:
number
5G.
21, 5G. Did you say?
Yes, number 21, 5G causes cancer and
Doesn't this like take up about three of the between 30 and 21? Three of them are all on 5G.
well, let's consider that we didn't start from number 1, we started from 30. So
Yeah, we're counting
maybe
down. Yeah.
this first is just, uh uh 5G worthy, but it causes cancer and COVID-19.
See, cancer, I could potentially down the track, I could see there being a connection with frequencies and causing cancerous growth, but I don't know how it causes you to get a cold and then get. I mean, I'm underplaying COVID, but you know,
Well,
I'm sorry, but a 5G signal is not going to give you the sniffles.
ready for another byproduct of 2020 and the global pandemic. The internet swarmed with misinformation that the wireless service was responsible for diseases like cancer and even COVID-19. The spread of this theory even led to the destruction of some 5G towers, as people believed the powerful connections
Wow.
would kill them. It doesn't really explain the COVID-19 thing, but
No.
like how you said,
Ooh.
I do see how radiation could, make you uh,
Hmm.
terminally sick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, radiation's in a lot of X-rays, and I can see the potential for that to be a harmful thing if it's not if it's not done the right way. But I don't know how it can cause COVID. No, not a clue.
Yeah, yeah. That was a real reach, but would it be safe to say that I could see how a cell phone with 5G network, when you're talking it, using it, putting it up to your face, it could be harmful. But what if you use Bluetooth, iPad,
Mm,
AirPods, or some ear device, and you don't have your phone?
yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories on, not very smart people. Sorry to say,
Very political there, mate.
if it affects you, I'm sorry, but I've heard some stories of people talking on their phone while laying on a pillow. So the phone is between your head and a pillow.
I've been guilty of doing that.
Really, that is so dangerous because of overheat can cause the battery to explode, and that's exactly what happens.
I generally don't talk for more than a couple of minutes on the phone, so if it's going to overheat in a couple of minutes, no,
Oh man.
no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am even against using phones while it's connected to a charger, because
Yeah, I
you know,
generally don't do that. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, because aside from the fact that it is a definite battery killer doing something like this, but the phone is going to overheat
yeah.
and potentially, blow up. And let's be real, people today, they can't even walk in the street without using your phone.
No,
Like they're
no.
like zombies crossing the street. There could be a green light, and you see people just,
That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. Yeah. Anyway, we're out of time on this one, so if everybody wants to join us next week when Fernando takes it again, and we will be doing 20 down to 11 of the top 30 conspiracy theories, join us then.
ooh,
Take it easy,
it's gonna be
guys.
a good one. Have
Yep.
a good one.